Hello and welcome back to Productions. This is the Tired Bug bringing in the bug free, Isaac said. And we'll get started here in just a couple of minutes. Basically yesterday was just, or not yesterday, whatever last time was on programming. We left off with just creating some actions and tuning our targeting, deciding what our points were to be. So we have it set up currently so that it calculates where to look to here, and I believe the camera manager can access that and find that information. Reach your camera context, which has probably gonna be an accessor. Yep, which then we get those from and move that way. I was working on tweaking some animations and some trying to fix some vectors, so my head's a little tired. This we should be Racer cam state CO. So basically in here, then we'll need our rotate to look at, but we'll actually be doing that in Racer cam. And if you fall behind or just want to look back on it later, you can always check out the videos on Twitch or the older ones on YouTube. I usually get those transferred in about 3 days. So with that, let's go out and check some of this stuff. And just jump into our Unity here. So with Racer Camera Manager, we have Move Camera. Then we'll probably create a new one for Rotate Camera. And we'll do Protected. We'll get the music turned off just so. Maybe this much? Yeah. I also need to get that just kind of. There we go. And this should look fine. Okay. And then move back to our full screen size. Cool. So we're going to use it protected, and virtual and stuff is all just kind of my preference. You could use private for a lot of the protected methods I do, with the exception of a few of them that I need inheritance for. That's kind of why all these are virtual, because we're inheriting them into anything we change. Anything we make that we want to use that for. And this is going to be rotate camera. So rot camera. Parenthesis curls. And we're going to have vector distance transform position arcam from. So it should be arcam. Yeah, it should be at position of from. If we think about it in terms of running this one next. Rot camera. And we could make these so that they take in a float that would be their time scale, which might be something you want to do, but for ease of walking through it this first time, I'm going to continue with this. So if vector3 distance Distance isn't quite going to be it. We'll probably have to figure that out. So let's go float, which is going to equal the what was it? Let's do ang angle diff. Angle diff, which is going to be equal to mathf dot um, this is lowercase f, so this is unity's f, mathf functions, and I think it's like delta angle, and this will be the difference between the two angles we put in here. So what would our two angles be? Well, we have to solve what those are first. And then we'll have what our diff angle is. So let's go over to Unity, look at that for a minute. So you notice we have the from point that we're looking from, and the 2 points probably right in front of us because we didn't really alter that too much right now. But as we move, you'll have noticed that we only move to the point behind it. We don't actually rotate our camera. So we have to rotate to look at that object. So in this case, come on. In this case, I will be able to go and look at, what are we looking at? I've lost my screens for a minute here. There we go. So for here, did we have the context here. Okay. What we'll need in addition to this stuff is the easy way is to make a rotation object. Because when we do look at, it only runs on like X and only really rotates on the X and the Z, no, X and the Y axis. So it makes it pretty easy, and since we don't have too much weird camera stuff going on right now, that'll probably be good enough for us. So if we're doing that, let's go ahead and look at that. So let's do, what should we call it? Let's just call it look at. Ref, and this is going to be a protected type of, not vector3. This is going to have to be a transform. So a protected transform that is going to be, what's the name of this one going to be? So it's going to be, let's call it angle TF. Angle TF. And that can't be equal to anything. And we're going to make this a serialized field. And that serialized field is not going to have a range, but it is going to have a header. And what would the header have in it? It would have a string that is looks at for ref. Looks at look to for ref. And if that's fine, then we're going to go and just wrap this in an if statement. If, and I already forgot what I named it. This little guy, and if he exists, then we are going to do this calculation. We're also going to need a vector 3. And why do we need a vector 3? Well, we need to hold the current rotation. And I don't like working with quaternions directly. Not to mention, when it gets to world space, it makes things more technical. That's why the one-tweening's not working very well. That I'm working on. But we're going to have a curve. Maybe we'll do Lookrot. Lookrot is equal to it's going to be nope, this guy. It's going to be this guy dot look at. This is a transform, so it should have dot look at. Vector 3 look at equal to angle diff. Because this is a transform, correct? No, I copied angle diff. I want angle TF. There we go. Okay. So if we have angle TF, then what do we want? We just go ahead and overwrite that. Dot look at and then how did we get look to, huh? That's the cam context, which is racer cam context, RCC. So if we're doing that, b dot r, no, b rcc dot cam from be cam2. Sounds like that was a transform, so that must be, no, it's a vector 3, correct? What do you return? Yep, a vector 3. So what's that issue? Because I should be able to pass in a. So the forward vector points at the world position. Type void deadine angle TF and look at rotation, or look at RCC dot cam2 void to Unity engine. That is okay. Wait, that's terrifying. At any rate, let's just comment this out. See if this helps at all. Comment this out. So we just have the one line that's wrong. Cannot convert void, so this isn't. So while this moves to rotate it, that doesn't work. But we can add on to this, which we go dot, and why doesn't it want to do that? Angle TF dot look at dot. And I should just be able to do. Alright, let's do this the long way because I can't spell enough to be able to autocomplete this thing. So then there, and then here, Euler angles. There we go. So we take the angle TF, we look at the RCC to cam, so we're looking at the place where a camera is supposed to point with the angle TF, and then getting the vector 3, look rotation, setting that equal to this, which is what I was hoping to get. To just work like that. Which, yeah, it doesn't work because there's a return type that changes how that behaves. Okay, that's fine. So that's why that was not a completing, because technically that returns a void. It doesn't return the rotation or the position or anything associated with that. So we can actually access anything off of this, the end of this method call. So from there, we have look rot. So now we have the angle we want to look at. And if we want, so we can look at our x, y, and z. Delta angle being the angle diff. Calculate shortest distance between two angles. So we'll do that. So we'll need one for our x. So angle x diff is going to be the delta angle of our current rotation. Should be our transform, our lowercase transform. Transform dot rotate. Can I just go to Euler angles straight from here? Yes, I can. Dot Euler angles, and then I need dot x because we can only do floats, I think. That might be a cool method to put in the tools script, is one that calculates all the angles and then sends them back as a vector 3. It's interesting. Anywho, so we have our rotation, which is this object's rotation being the camera's rotation, and we have our object that we just got. So our look at rotation, so it's our look rot, which is our helper object. Our helper object looks at it and gives us this rotation. So lookrot dot x, do this 2 more times, which actually we only need 1 more time because using this method will probably only use the y, unless you're trying to do something very fancy. Because you can think of your y as pan left and right, and then, or not pan left and right, rotate slash look left and right, and then your x is look up and down. So, and your z is like a roll, so you're not going to use that too much likely. And look at, I believe, is the same method the camera uses, like main camera by default for the editor, just because they both share a lot of qualities. I may be wrong about that, but I think it's likely. Because you wouldn't want to rewrite that code twice. Angle, xdiff, angle, ydiff. So then we have some transforms, some lookats. And then it's gonna be, what can we do here? So we have our transform, the difference in angle x and angle y. Now we need to do our actual rotation to look at it. And I don't want to put anything named look at. So maybe I do something like, so this is like calculating. Maybe I just comment out the sections. Calculate uh, angle difference. Angle difference. And do I have a tween time here? I do have a tween time, which is in decimal, which could use a, let's add a serialized field with a range, and I never want that to be longer than 1 second, so it's going to be 0 to 1. And same with change rate, probably needs one of these as well. Something's odd about that. How can you, oh, it added a space when it tried to make things more legible? Couple spaces. And then the buffer. Must be less than 1 as well, we'll just say. All cool. And then rotate camera. So once we do that, what's the next part? So here's calculate difference. Calculate angle difference, does that. Face camera. Towards look to point. And again, the reason I do this and not just, because we could just tell the camera to look straight at the object, which is, yeah, you can. You can do that every frame on update, and it won't look too bad. I was just hoping that changing this to be more like my tween settings is gonna make it a little smoother so we can get some more useful camera things for later. So we're gonna do a float. Not a float. So here's where we're actually gonna rotate the camera on our part. So we're probably gonna want, let's get our curve rotation. Lowercase C-U-R-C-A-M-R-O-T equal to is a vector 3, but it's equal to our transform dot Euler angle, and yeah, we can pretty much leave it there. That's equal to that. And vector 3 nrot, because we don't use name with the word new in it. Actually, let's not do this. Let's not use this here. While that is the current camera rot, let's set nrot ncamrot to transform.Euler angles. But this being a vector 3 that we can edit, we can then assign it to be the rotation later. So ncamrot Euler angles, this is going to be n dot, and let's start with the x. The x is going to be equal to our x difference. So angle x diff multiplied by our cosine angle x diff. That wouldn't make any sense. But what would it be? It'd be math delta angle. So we have our transform Euler look at x. So this x diff multiplied by our tween time. So 1 divided by our tween time. 1 divided by tween time. Parenthesis that for security and order of operations. This is called an update, so it'd be times time.delta time. And if we wanted to add in anything else, we could do a change rate. Yeah, because we have tween time, change rate, and buffer. I'm going to have to make those a little more consistent in my other scripts, but these are fine. So we can do multiply by change rate. Change rate. So this basically meaning, I'll actually move this to be more concise. We have a difference angle. We want to move a percentage of that angle, currently defined as 90%. So we move 90% of that angle in our 1 divided by tween time, which is our rate, which gets us a multiplier that helps us speed it all up to happen within, since we defined as decimal, quarter of a second, half second, all of that stuff, and delta time, which is the time between frames. So that's usually like 1/200th. And basically this just helps keep it in time with seconds. So it's not, yeah, just so that we have a constant speed. So that's all nice. And what would we do? Well, we still haven't assigned any dang thing, so we're not going to need the z, we're just going to need the y. So then we do the same thing for the y. Let's go ahead and just duplicate actually. We go back y, angle y diff, and we go change rate between time delta time. All good. If we wanted to change this, we could have like an x rate and a y rate, but demo purposes, first game, or not first games, but current version, just fine. Let's hop back over to Unity, do a little play and run. Then H, and this probably isn't quite what I was hoping for, but didn't rotate. Why no rotate? Ah, because I didn't set up the camera. I suppose. I suppose. Player body. So, how did we have this here? The player bod is the reference for the thing here. So in here we should have our camera context. Okay, I drug this in here. Yep, so in player container we have our main camera, which I will rename because I don't like that. And rename that because I don't like that. Racer cam. Because we might want to attach cameras to multiple different, like even the NPCs. Because if you get rung out or spawn times or whatever else you want to add in later, better to keep everything consistent in one thing, and then probably through like further scripting a AI input bridge. Probably best to do that and then disable that camera through that way if you're not going to use it in the players or in the NPCs. A couple, you'd still have all the wasted memory of having those camera objects, but I mean, on a PC game, that's not too bad. And then you can always turn it on. It'd be more fun for networking stuff later. Um, so Racer Cam, Cam Context, Player Bod, Racer Camera Controller, and then this one. So I'm actually going to go create so right click and create an empty underneath the Racer Camera. And this guy's going to be look helper. VER, look helper. And he is important because cam context does need a look helper. So now if we hit play, we should see our code do something. Alright, so maybe we do need to get, let's get to here. So what's this say for me? First of all, did we call it in the update? Yup. Rock camera. Second of all, maybe we tried this with equal, not equal. So if that's not equal null, reason for that just being sometimes object just passes reference. There's a problem with that. not triggering a null or a false null, even though the reference is empty. So let's try this and jump back. Then we go here and we're going to try an H and see if our rotation works. Still doesn't look like it's rotating. Did I mess something up in the logic, or did I just simply forget to connect something else? Forgot to assign it. Ha 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 ha. Okay, let's go ahead and okay. So equal is not going to be okay because that's a difference. So we need to make it a difference. So if we make it the difference, and then here, so let's open assign a new rotation. And the reason this is kind of nice is because we go assign a new rotation, and we do a place where we just access our transform. Transform dot rotation. Rotation is equal to a quaternion Euler and we saved all those in a vector 3 for a reason, because now we just do n camera, make it a line. Yeah, so now we should get a rotation that's a new quaternion made of the vector angles. Cool, cool, cool. Then let's go ahead and go back to our Unity. Play. Ah. Okay, as you can see, plus might have been the wrong choice, or minus. I'm not very good at dealing with rotation. Sometimes it doesn't quite come out the way I want it to. So let's try this, and then pop the Unity back open. There we go. Then you see it slide slowly into place. It's kind of following. It has trouble keeping up with how fast he can turn. But he does, for the most part, work out. Cool. So there's that one. That's pretty solved. Nice, nice. That's pretty much the camera rotation. So now that's pretty much the whole thing. I'm not gonna do too much new cool stuff with the camera rotation right now, but this is pretty much can officially conclude that type of thing. So um, now might be a good time to, if you're unhappy with how your character moves around, or there's certain different things we can work on to polish that up. Not through code, but just simply through adjusting all of our scripts. See, he won't have any of that. Player input bridge, racer input bridge settings, object body rotation, that's for the wheels. So then we should be all good for that. We'll let the computer cool down a little bit because he was really huffing hard when he has to run OBS game preview and the OBS. He gets a little frustrated, so we'll let the computer cool a little bit just for a second or two. Doesn't need too much. And with that, so let's look at what else can we possibly do. So we have the player move context for the most part. We have all the basic move stuff for the context. We have all the basic move things for the um, camera that's editable. Just tweak and edit. Have all the different states for both of those. The only thing left would be to switch camera states so that the states can do different things if you want them to later. Or simply have different settings, which we made possible already in the player camera context. Yeah, racer camera context. We have idle and accelerate, but we can definitely add the rest of those in there. Rest of those accessors, get those running, create the different scriptable objects that we have the basically template for. Do all that sort of thing. So maybe that's a nice laid back thing we can do for the rest of the night is just finish some of that up. Because we don't have any console problems, so we can just script through and chill out. Maybe while we're doing that, think about what's coming up next, or what we could have coming up next. Cam Params has its own folder. Create nope, not C# script. Create. I've never even used this. Visual scripting. Yeah, not even used once. 2D physics material. Text. So what do I want? I want scriptable object. I want eraser cam state SCO. What do they have? They have a tween time, a change rate, and a buffer. Well, hold on now. Might have to go back and change that actually. Because what do we have here? Because we're doing our own tween time, our own change rate. That should be going back to the state. I think we did that for testing because we didn't want to hassle it too much because we didn't want to set up too much. So, but that's one of the things we can also do. Racer cam move context or racer cam context. So we could get Kercam. We could get Kercam SCO through a pretty simple thing that didn't I just use in something else? Huh. Well, if I didn't, let's go ahead and do that because I kind of like the idea of the what I did before, where it's gonna be a racer cam state. So having a racer SCO, that SCO is actually returned by the camera state. So in a state context, it would just be an accessor. I think I actually did that racer cam state. That might be what I did in this one. Yes, it is what I did in this one. So that's all set up. We just get the racer cam state SCO. And we use that in our racer cam manager. And that's instead of our dot. I don't think I have getters for these either though, which is the other problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and create those getters, accessors, and then, whoop, so this access area, we don't need a separate access area. We'll just do it underneath this. So it'll be public, float change rate, return change rate. Public, float buffer, return buffer. What was buffer? 0.2, the amount the camera should stop changing at, which is good to have. Public, float, WEEN time, tween time, and we're just going with the tween time. Get return tween time. Beautiful. So if we have all this, then we're not worried about that. We can actually go back one step. Use that back arrow, get all the way here. SCO dot, and this is going to be tween. Oh, that's not right. It's RCC dot what's the SCO it was? It's racer cam state SCO. Yeah, perfect, beautiful. I'm probably gonna go change some of my move state to be more like this. And I probably said that last vid too. So see how fast I move when it doesn't need to be changed. Race routine time. Cam from, okay, that's returned from that. And then right here's another one. So if we copy, change rate, transform position, and it's greater than right here, buffer, beautiful. And I need to delete and make that capital buffer. There. Then we just kind of do the same thing with this stuff. Change rate, Control V, delete shift time tween, or tween time, time.delta time, that's fair. What happens if I hit tab? Nice. Autocomplete. Not sucking? Amazing. Mail. Cool. Anyway, so wow, not even barely halfway to the hour and most of the camera stuff's fixed. Sweet. Um, we can probably do something like, I don't know. This part's probably fine, doesn't need to move if it's movement is more the problem with the buffer type stuff. This is probably going to be okay. Um, yeah, I'm just going to say it's probably going to be okay to run that and always calculate. Because rotation is one of those things that needs to keep smooth all the time. So stopping to do it and only doing it when it hits within a buffer doesn't always work very well. Whereas movement tends to take up a lot of resources that doesn't necessarily always benefit. Um, yeah, I think that's about right. I think that could be about right. So we can move on to making something else a little more bug-free. So we can Control Shift S, save all the screen we have here. And with that, we're going to head on and complete some of that stuff in Unity probably. Just go ahead and race your cam. I should rename this. So if I go and rename it, and what would I want to call it? So I have idle, accelerate, stun, and I have cam after him. Cam SCO. That's the naming convention I settled on. It's going to be create. Actually, why not just, what is it? We have accelerate, idle, stun, dash, um, what was it? Dash, drift, grind. I have fly and trick. And all these guys are going to have, yeah, so now I just rename all that stuff. Rename, so it's going to be DASH, which this is an unfortunate name, but I don't know. I didn't quite do that right. Yeah, dash cam SCO. That's unfortunate land of the dice there. We got to rename. One of my favorite new things, I am going to show this since there's not really anything that's going to be super pressing for the rest of this one. I'm just going to show some cool stuff that I also just found out. So double click, right click. You can see rename actually has a thing here, which means if I just click on this and then control and double R, I can rename that variable. That's just a fun shortcut I've been playing with a lot. I mean, it's always been right listed on there. I just never. So if there's ever something that you use a lot, just remember to actually look at these if you're interested in them. Shift F12, I'm almost scared to try and do that because that's F12 is really one of those things that I don't usually want to run. Sometimes you can get unexpected results depending on which application grabs the function key, but anyway, we can go on ahead, which ahead meaning back to Unity. So we have rename, and now that I know that has a shortcut and I'm used to that shortcut, I just kind of wish every program would have that shortcut because I really don't like going through menus anymore if it's something I use that frequently. This will be like drift. Drift, cam, yeah. I'll probably dial in the gameplay stuff as I move forward with things, but I'm just gonna continue to work on it this way. Fly cam, shift, FLY. Cam, SEO, not number 3. I did get rid of the numbers on the end of them, didn't I? Looks like I didn't get that one. That's kind of one of the things that happens. Sometimes you get combinations of words that mean something else, and you're like, well, I'm not going to change the naming convention because then it'll be worse. And you just have to kind of deal with some unfortunate naming. Rename, grind, cam, which is another unfortunate one. Well, what are you going to do? Then we rename. So we have accelerate, dash, drift, fly, grind, idle, stun. Oh, and I have trick. Twick, 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 twick. That trick's fun, so it'll be fun later. So, accelerate, dash, cam, drift. Those all exist, so then all except for fly and trick you guys can set up, and I didn't name that properly. SEO, I probably want to clean this up and sort this a little bit, so I'll probably create one folder that's move state SEOs. Maybe I'll just call them move params. Move params, and then like accelerate. Accelerate can go in. Whoa. Wait a minute. This one has a number on it. I just don't like numbers. Then I also called it params. Dash, drift, fly, grind, cow, ground check, nope. Idle, stun. I also don't have a trick one yet. It doesn't appear. So when I move that in, I'll also create that one. And again, I'll probably walk over the trick functions and stuff, but not till after I publish the one I'm working on. So it'll be kind of be like a part one, part two. We'll work on this, get all of this base code working so that you guys have a working project, and then you can make it special and all that. And then later I'll try and release my version, which will just have a few different things, few additions, and then we'll plug in, come back and review some of the things I added to make it different, than just a strict, you know, strictly what it is right now, which is kind of a little more basic. So we go to, I forgot where I was at. Here we go. And I need to move state SCO. This is gonna be trick underscore SCO. Um, move, and I won't stop and bore everybody with renaming all this stuff later. I mean, immediately. Well, I'll put those in as I go and just kind of keep moving because all the references will stay the same. Like if you go in here and player body, 'cause I think a lot of these, yeah, here. Where's the accelerate one? There it is. Even though I renamed it, it kept the update, and even though all of these moved folders, the references stay the same, they're just still in there. Perfectly fine. Very simple. Which is one of the most useful ones. Actually, in params, let's go ahead and create body objects, rotation. Not. Oh, I extracted some of that to make more sense. I think I went over that though, so I won't bother anybody with that right now. Ground check. SCO. Oh, there's only one ground check SCO because it's literally just to hold and filter elements. Yep. So they can just stay in there. They can stay in there. It's fine. Nothing's gonna hurt them today. Anyway, so we can keep looking around. It's 7 now, so didn't expect to get that camera rotation in one. Not gonna lie, rotation usually takes a while to get right. But oh well, oh well, I guess. Um, Actually, if I look at it, that might be because I went. How did I go? Two. I went two to from. No, went from to two. From two, which was plus. So maybe I'm going to from. That's why I can't do it on the other rotation. Anyway, I might have to just pull that up and work on it here too when I'm working on the tweening, just to try and fix the rotation. And then anybody can comment solutions to this thing, because it's taken a while and I'm not getting the results I'm looking for. And while it looks really nice, it's the rotation I'm having problem with and not the tweening. So, rotating camera, so this is all done. This references the correct thing, references the correct thing. So the last thing to do is probably we can go to Racer Context too and get some of that stuff set up, I said, right? Get those SCOs set up. Racer Cam Context needs could be a little bit bigger. Access to Racer Cam states. I did set that up for those. Were they the SCOs or? Nope, they're the states. Do I not have a section for SCOs yet? Racer state SCOs right here. Ah, so there's access. There's access, and I just need to do cam state SCO reference. Here we go. There we go. So we can do, I'm just gonna copy Control C. We go dash drift, dash drift stun, trick, fly. Start with that. Well, that's not supposed to be capital. And the reason I use underscores is just because I usually end up wanting to search SCO, um, because that creates a nice little, not necessarily a tag, but text I can search, like a tag. Dash drift. Why can't I not capitalize that? DRIFT. Got a nice little drift. And then we got, what else do we have? Stun dash drift, and we need more types of things. It's gonna be idle, accelerate, stun, dash, drift. Um, fly, quit doing that. Fly and trick. And there's one more. And if anyone hasn't guessed it by now, it is grind. It is grind. Okay, there's that. So those SCOs exist. Then we can go down to here. Racer cam SCOs. Then we're gonna go ST SCO. That's gonna be. Why does it keep doing idle? What the heck? Stun. Public dash get return dash SCO. Drift SCO. Get return drift SCO. Stun dash drifts. Grinds. Don't know why it's not putting SCOs on these, but that's saving me some typing. Trick. What is hmm? No, I haven't seen it like that. For consistency of readability. Trick SCO. Turn fly SCO. Alright, stun, dash, drift, grind, trick, fly. It's probably all of them, right? I could probably enter one more time and see if I get. Yeah. Yep. That's it. That's easy. Then we'll just have to go into our Unity and just hook those up, just so they're there when we go to look at them later. Nothing too bad. Do need cam params. Then we need our player body, and we go down to like here, and we do stun. We do stun. Here we go. Dash. Did I not create one? I did one. Did create one for Dash. Because we laughed about Dashcam. Because Dashcam is hilarious. Or at least what you find on a Dashcam is. Usually it's mostly dust and a corroded battery of some kind, but but in the few times it's not, it might have some fun footage on it. Drift SEO. Drift cam grinds fly check. So those are fun. Um Actually, since we're going so far ahead, we might even go on to work on what was the next thing I was gonna do? I didn't sign into Google, so I can't see. Um I think I was just gonna start with the fuel system. I was just gonna get like some basic UI work and some numbers and floats so we can see them. Charge statuses and whatnot. Oh, I think there was aiming. Aiming was also up there. So let's grab my handy dandy notepad document, which is just a cam manager check. Oh yeah, we still have to do cam manager checks. Yep. So what do we want to do? We want to just go ahead and check some stuff, right? So I'd probably say there's the aim for firing. We're not actually going to do firing in the same session. We might start it, but there's a design pattern I'm going to use. Two of them actually, the factory and the can't think of it right now. Pooling pattern. Yeah, factory pattern and object pooling, uh, which will help speed up our processes so that some of our calculations are a little less demanding because we'll be able to use less objects in memory, which is the expensive part when you create and destroy an object. That's it's better to just pool it and change its properties. Uh, Aim for firing. Fuel slash power. We're not going to do a health system. It's going to be, oh yeah, health is like item E health equal stunned state. Health equal stunned. But before any of that, let's make sure we got our cam state changes. Which the way we're going to do that is basically creating a default method in our nice little, let me minimize that. I don't even want to have it on my screen. We're going to need to probably go through Unity and open our scripts, open our move. So racer movement, move states, and then we're just going to go, do I have the default racer move state in here? Yes, I do. So I want that one. Change state methods, and then we're probably just going to throw this right in here. And are we actually gonna do what would we want to do? Do we ever want to return the racer movement state, right? Do we? Probably not. We're just gonna call the camera and tell it what we want it to do, and then the camera will figure out what that means in its context. So, what's this mean? Oh, this was the method call to make it do the thing. So then I might even just copy that line. And I probably would be a little more finicky about my naming, because this isn't gonna, oh, maybe it does exist. I don't remember doing all these. I might have, though. I might have done that. Any rate, or am I accessing the wrong thing altogether? RCC. Okay, so my racer move context, racer camera context, grind. Okay, yeah, I'm sure that's fine then. That must be fine then. So we got to move into our drift. DRI. So there's our drift. And we're going to do this by default just because ease of testing, having them all the same, and then we're not actually sure what we want our state change behavior to be, like how selective we want it to be, or if it's selective at all, which will probably be selective once we get into like uh, defining our dash state a little more seriously. Uh, reason that being that those states are going to be kind of like locked in for a certain amount of time. They're going to pull off fuel, pull off some of the other stuff. So we have to kind of deal with that a little bit. And they'll probably have specialized methods to deal with that stuff. Whereas things like trick and stuff will have special things in the camera, but they won't necessarily be specialized states. Um, grind might be. Can't be sure though. So we're just going to do this as a generic approach for the time being. What is this? Accelerate. Yeah, and I kept all my tween code commented out so I can revisit it later. Fly. And then we're just kind of continuing to do some stuff. We got some trick here. So let's control V and do trick. The other thing is, did I define these actually? Okay, I did actually define all these. Cool. I must have done that without thinking about it and totally just blacking out. Because I do not remember doing some of the stuff. But then again, I did hand type almost 300, almost 250. Almost 250 lines of this myself, and there's bound to be lines I do not remember. Um, so there's all the STOs. And because it's like 250 lines long, I have started just putting more crap in regions, which I highly recommend, especially if you're reading through some of this and you're like, comments are not cutting it for me. I wish I could not look at certain things because we have it pretty pinned down to the point where it's not like too spread all over the place. It's not making too many children cry to look at, so I think we're doing mostly okay. Every once in a while, it might be a good idea just to crunch everything down so that you know how much is not. inner region and how much is maybe not secular. So like here we have methods. I might actually throw these guys in a region, and the region being teehee, the region being that I don't that all of this stuff is for startup. Functions. Which I might actually recall methods. Reason just to keep with this crap. I guess that only covers on enable though, so maybe not. I would thought that update was something else. But you can have like Unity methods. So it's like anything that's Unity type invokes is like update, on enable, awake, anything. Just make a section for that and then put those in there. So we could do that. Um, that might conflict with something else I want to do, so I'm just gonna leave it. It's two methods. It's not that important. So then we move over to access the camera objects, hyphenate those down. This is all looking, yeah, that's much more manageable to skim through. Racer camera state. So then let's Control Shift S to make sure everything's saved. Okay, so now those are all linked up. So now when we change methods, we should have a different camera angle just to make sure that's all working correctly. We can head back over to our Unity. Ba 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 ba. And we can hammer onto a different thing where we go to the player body, we go down and we look at some more racer move context. What's our racer move context? We're gonna have jump base. Meh. Probably gotta edit this jump. I don't think that's quite what I want. IK calculator. Like I said, I'll review that when I get that far. These are all here, which means if yeah, let's change from accelerate to accelerate. We're gonna need to change idle as well. No, shouldn't. I changed the thing they return in the thing. Okay. Just need to make sure idle separate and then accelerate separate, but then also um let's say 2 on the Y. Say 2 on the Y, 2 on the Z. Cool, right? So that we'll see a difference. And let's go to idle state. The camera. Then we need to go idle. And if I remember right, it's a method. And it's going to be, it's a public override. Public override. Public override. What's the method type? What's the method type for this? Was it void? No, it was SCO something. Was it scriptable? It was a racer. Racer here. Racer cam state SCO. And I will not be returning the base. I will be returning the ARC C dot, is it drift grinds? Did I not make an idle one? Thought I did. Idle SCO. And that should fix all the things that have to be on there. So it should have all the things that a growing bot needs in order to maneuver his camera. So we do a play. So we should, yep, get the normal expected 1-1 treatment. Whoa. Why does he go past it? That's weird. What's in the idle scripts, huh? Maybe we should check that out. Oh, I went too far. Scripts, and then SEO parameters, params, camera params, and what's in here? So we need our idle one, 0.592, 0.592, and these are 2 and 2. So we changed the accelerate ones. Idle cam. So why does this one work nice and that one worked confusing? Um, Racer camera manager. Player racer camera controller. Okay, let's clean some of this up. I don't want to look at that anymore. On the racer camera manager, I don't like having this, this, or this. That's probably why I didn't serialize those fields. Because they were just there for testing and making sure everything worked. They didn't really matter. In terms of usability for design. So those works. Control S, I would not like to have. I would wish sometimes it quit adding crap like this. UI elements, yeah, I won't use that. I don't even know what I added that wanted it to have it. And it definitely wasn't on purpose. Um, but maybe changing some of the move parameters would help a bit too. Animation, no, come on. Assets, scripts, it's gonna be racer move context, it's gonna be move states, it's gonna be none of those. It's actually gonna be scriptable parameters, camera parameters, move parameters, and accelerate. I'm gonna turn the speed down a little bit just to make it a little more usable for me because I want to see if it's the reason. Okay. That's weird. Not sure what's causing that. It's got to be a little bit different than this, than what I'm expecting. Because I'm putting in one, so I guess the place to look would be the camera manager. Wouldn't it? Where's the camera context? Let's look at, well, they're both open, so let's just take a look at our code. Eraser camera context looks for cam2, vector 3.0, puts in cam2, puts in 1, must be assigned out from the UI actions, functions of update, passes in this as well. So the point is calculated in here. Camera context ARC, out, look, and calc target ARC to look to, and a look from. Calculate cam target. Okay, this is what we were calculating. A look to is equal to cam anchor dot forward plus why are they both forward? Okay. The negative forward plus cam anchor position plus cam anchor up. So this is the cam anchor up. So it's a negative forward plus the position. So we're adding the position. Okay. Something's. So this is the generic. It should be back. It should be back from position and up. Okay, that's generic. This setting is the problem. Because this should be then 1, 1. What is it? X, C, Z. 0, 0, 1. So thinking of it that way. Should be 0, 0, 1. And then we're having that times X cam set, that times Y, that times that. So this should make sense. Because then racer cam state SCO dot cam set X that should be 1. Should be 2. And this should be how far back it is, which would be in the negative direction. No, which would be in the multiplied direction. So if it's positive at the x, it would go further forward. I did this because I couldn't multiply by a vector 3 all 3 places. So it might be better is to not do this. Rather just get a straight multiplier so it would move up and into position. So it would be a straight multiplier, probably at the top. Methods vars. It wouldn't be here actually, it'd be at the racer camera state context. No, the SCO, but I can get there through this. And I would want to add one that doesn't have a range to 1, has a range to, let's say 5. More than 5 units away and it's gone anyway. Let's say a buffer. This is not the buffer, this is a multiplier, distance multiplier. This is going to be an x distance multiplier. This is not going to be an x distance multiplier. It's going to be a forward distance multiplier. So let's call it a 2 distance multiplier. Let's call this a from distance multiplier. Wait. There we go. So we'll call it a from distance multiplier. So what does this make this? Well, that means we can go any number of 5. The range is wrong. Let's not make that 5. Let's make that -5. Because we might want to go back 5 spaces. Actually, if it's a multiplier, don't need that. That wouldn't make any sense. Alright, so we save that up. We can go back using the back arrow where we last were. Cam context. Probably easier to just go to the camera manager. We need one more thing though. We need that SCO. In the SCO, I need to have my other thing. What other thing you might ask? Well, I have the definition. I don't have the accessor. Let's do a public float. And this guy is 2 distance mults. Capital T this time. 2 distance mults. Get return 2 dist mults. Public. That'll work. Can't hover over those, I guess. From set. This looks good. Camera context. Camera context. As long as I can access it, I don't need to worry about that. I can go to the state manager. Not the state manager, camera manager. And then, or did I make a mistake? It's in the state, isn't it? It is. It's in the camera state. I'm just going to go ahead and control shift / comment. Right here, I'm going to control shift / comment. Why don't I want that anymore? Because I'm just going to use a look from multiply equal. And it's going to be I get camera eraser context. So what's the property? I see. ARCC dot racer camera state SCO dot gonna be cam from set. This would be from, yes. Oh, it's mult. It's from disk mult. Yep. Yeah, I'm very forgetful. A look from multiply equal a look to RCC dot the SCO again, racer dot to disk mult. So this being positive, we'll multiply these guys. This also being positive, we'll multiply it by this. Does that make sense? No. Still not there. Because this doesn't, this is not what we're trying to do. Okay, think of it again. This forward, so we do, alright, so basically, that doesn't quite result in what I was thinking it would. Because what that would in turn result in would be just the same thing multiplied, which its position could still be completely positive. Then we move it 22 spaces in front instead of 1 space behind. So cam forward, we multiply this by a dot racer SCO dot from disk mult. We do it from disk mult. Nice, right? I'd probably throw parentheses to ensure operations. Even though theoretically it should be fine, I don't feel like finding out that it isn't. Then I'd probably do the same thing here. ARCC. Mult. Yeah. Yeah, that should be fine. Then I'll probably do the same thing up. Don't auto. Come on. That sucks. I can't even read what it's saying. So irritating. If I duplicate it, does it cause the same problems everywhere. Cool. This is insanely. This sucks. I don't like this red crap. Red highlighting. It's cool that it does this suggestion stuff here, but why? Why this? ARCC. It's just really hard to read that for me. I'm sure I'm not the only one that has complaints about that. That's fine. So this looks so many positions forward. Um, yeah, so racer cam state. Yeah, we might even pull this in and say cam direction. Um, get some kind of direction, which would be a separate thing, which would be the, calculated as the forward and the up, instead of how I did this. So that would probably be a better one. I'm just trying to get something that runs right now so I know what my error is. If that all saves up, that should be fine and ready to go and fix my problem. And if it doesn't, that's it for today. Okay, so it kind of fixes it, it kind of doesn't. Okay, so it kind of fixes it, kind of doesn't. I have a feeling I'd have to do like down some more up and stuff, and it's fine. It's fine for where it is. So it's workable. You know where to put the code to make it look nicer, which is the big deal. Because yeah, if you're prototyping, you probably have a little bit more work to make it a little more workable, a little nicer on that equation. If you're designing, you'd probably wouldn't be using this quite yet, but it is what it is a little bit. And well, yeah, because the x multiplier was multiplying that, but once it goes to 2, yeah. So I just wasn't thinking about that problem being that it's not a directional vector; it's a you know physical space vector. Vector made of three information things. So, with that, I think we'll stop here. We'll probably pick up on the next one with da 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 da. Da. Um, aim for firing. I don't feel like tackling until we do the power system, which will be and health. Um, so we'll probably start with health and stunned. And then if we get enough time, we'll move on to fuel and power. Because cam state change. Oh, say this one does work. So we did accomplish that. And aim for firing, I don't really want to do until I have this. Well, actually, aim for firing might be kind of interesting. So we use like a mouse raycast to test, or finds the world space that your mouse would click on if it was casting a ray into the screen from the camera, which is kind of cool. It's also kind of touchy. I actually probably won't use that actually. I'll use we'll be using mouse X and Y to make our kind of like tinted thing. So it'll be like we'll click down, yeah, we'll click down and our thing will light up. I'm thinking is how I want the end to end, like the end result to be. And then it'll fire. There's one of two things. We either mouse raycast to into the scene and have like it be a guideline, or we mouse, not mouse, or we um do like kind of a grid, like a targeting lane, and then shoot from that because I want to get it a little more 3D interactive. It'd be more fun that way. Just is more fun that way than having some straightforward like shoot straight ahead. That's fun, but it's the goal here is not to be like Mario Kart in that way. Um, Goal is to be bring something new to the targeting and that sort of thing, which I think would be cool to um yeah, do something like that. Do something with a mouse where it's based on the mouse's movement and changes rotation or trajectory. Which we could do trajectory lines. It's not that bad. Trajectory lines are really easy actually, as long as you have the physics equation to do them for you, which is the hard part. Because there's a lot of things where people will be like, use a physics scene and then use physics prediction. That's expensive. It makes no sense. It's a lot of extra work. Sometimes it's better to just suck it up and program math than it is to try and use somebody else's math. So we'll look at that later next time. Unless I can get somebody on to do some tween troubleshooting, which would bump that up. With that, let's look at this OBS and we'll pull in some. With that, remember to like, subscribe, and on YouTube and follow on Twitch. Comment any suggestions or basic communication type thing that you want, since I don't know how to do some of these things. Uh, and I don't have a Discord set up right now, so best way to get my attention would be to drop it right in the comments on YouTube channel. That's at Bugfree Productions -R4M. Not sure why it auto generates that last bit, but it does. So, and you can find me at Twitch TV/Jib at BFP. And my schedule's on there. We got 6 o'clock coding on Tuesday and sometimes Thursday. Thursday's variable things to work on / game streams for visiting and multiple topics for visiting game devs. And then we have Saturday is art, and right now we're working on getting some of the art on the bike race. Just walking through some of my process to make that, and stuff I'll be using for not the demo that we're walking through, like the shell, this easier to code shell. It'll be the harder, or not the harder, the art won't be harder. It'll be for the finished game I'm making that goes along with this demo. So that will cover like the tweening and stuff once that all gets fixed. So if any or all of that sounds interesting to you, remember to follow and subscribe on YouTube. With that, I'll wish everyone a bug-free day.